The MacBook is no doubt the slimmest and lightest laptop we have seen on the market till now. But throughout the years, the MacBook itself updating its version has got people thinking about which one they should choose. If you're also struggling with the same dilemma, then you would be more than happy to know that we are here to resolve all your confusion and help you to make the wise and right choice. But for that, you need to stick to the end of this video. The new MacBook Air unveiled for the first time in June at the WWDC 2022 conference is an addition to the current generation of MacBook Pro family and comes with a brand new Apple-designed chip named M2. This new SoC outperforms the M1 in terms of speed and power efficiency while maintaining excellent battery life. According to Apple, the M2 SoC, which is an improvement over the M1 but is still positioned below the M1 Pro, M1 Max, and M1 Ultra, is the center of attention, according to Apple, in the design of the new MacBook Air. In contrast to the initial switch from Intel CPUs to internal ones, which led to significant speed and efficiency benefits, this new chip delivers relatively modest advancements. Even though the M2 MacBook Air is more expensive than the M1 Air, Apple is still selling the M1 Air for the time being. Though the increasing demand for the M2 MacBook Air might lead to a hike in prices later, till then, is it worth grabbing this opportunity at this rate? It's time to find out if the new M2 Air's numerous significant improvements over its predecessors are worth the premium it asks for. The greatest Windows laptops like the Inzu ZenBook S13 OLED and Lenovo Yoga 9i Gen 7 are easily defeated by the Air M2. As you might already know by now, the MacBook Air M2 starts in the range of around $1,199. It has an 8-core GPU, a 256GB SSD, 8GB of RAM, and a 30-watt Type-C power brick in its new edition. Moreover, both the RAM and storage of this variant could be configured, but you need to be very cautious while doing so because you cannot upgrade later to its initial version. Since the M2 MacBook Air lacks a MagSafe charging port, you will find 2 more Thunderbolt ports available. These are USB 4 compliant and have a 40 Gbps maximum bandwidth. The latest MacBook Air can run an external monitor at 60Hz in resolutions up to 6K. On the side opposite the ports, there is a 3.5mm headphone connector that can accommodate high-impedance headphones. There are only 4 exposed screws on the base of the new MacBook Air, giving it a simple and minimalistic appearance. This model doesn't have a fan, thus you can anticipate entirely silent operation even while executing demanding workloads. But at the same time, it has an active cooling system which makes its sustained performance even better. The popularity of the MacBook Air M2 is spreading like some pandemic in India right now, as every second person is aiming to buy it. Not just the entrepreneurs, but even the students are aiming to buy it because of its alluring discounts. And why won't they be when it looks so sleek? It has been manufactured keeping in mind the needs and comfort of all its users. The edges of this new version have been made lesser sharp, ensuring that a person can use it in any place. He needs not stick to the table in order to use it. And as you would expect from a Mac, the all-aluminum chassis feels really solid and the fit and quality are excellent. The higher display has the benefit of giving the lower half of the MacBook Air an extra keyboard area. Without sacrificing the size of the trackpad, Apple chose to include a full-sized function row keys, including the Power and Touch ID buttons. In reality, the Force Touch trackpad on the new M2 Air is a little bit wider. Apple has replaced the perforated speaker grills on either side of the keyboard with a 4-speaker system that produces sound through vents located between the display's hinges. Even if you have 100 active tabs open in your Chrome, you wouldn't see any decline in its speed, which is just amazing. Talking about the most concerning question while buying a laptop is that of a battery. Even during the Intel era, the battery life of a MacBook was one of its defining features, and it has only become better since Apple switched to its own silicon. Similar battery life to the M1 Airs is something the new M2 MacBook Air delivers on. On a typical day, after 7 to 8 hours of use for work, the battery would typically still have about 40% of its capacity. It can run for around 14 hours. Now the question arises, how is it different from M1 or MacBook Pro models? In contrast to the M1 Air, the M2 MacBook Air is currently available in 2 different finishes including Midnight and Starlight, in addition to Space Gray and Silver. A USB Type-C power converter, a Type-C to MagSafe 3 connection, and the laptop are all included in the box. The M1 MacBook Air could not be distinguished from the earlier Intel-based model. But that's not the case with the new M2 Air. It has fewer ports and resembles a smaller 14-inch MacBook Pro. The recognizable wedge design of the MacBook Air has been replaced with a base that is evenly thick and a flat lid. In addition, the brightness has been raised from 400 nits on the M1 Air to 500 nits. Other Apple technologies like True Tone and P3 white color spectrum coverage are also present. And the display still has 60 Hz refresh rate. Despite having 4 billion more transistors than the M1, the M2 is still constructed using a 5nm production technique. A hardware-level encode and decode engine for ProRes, video at up to 8K resolution and support for up to 24 GB of unified memory with a greater bandwidth of 100 GBs, are just a few of the noteworthy advancements. For improved performance, the M2's CPU, GPU, and neural engine cores have all been enhanced. The M2 Air's new 4-speaker system sounds slightly warmer and fuller than the M1 system. For a laptop, these thin, low-end frequencies have a respectable amount of bass, and vocals and mid-range frequencies are properly reproduced with good clarity. Additionally, both laptops have a comparable maximum volume level. Similar to the MacBook Pro models, the M2 MacBook Air's display features a slot to make room for an upgraded 1080p FaceTime camera. It takes some getting accustomed to the notch at first, but happily, Mac OS has been improved to the point that most menu items for programs now automatically wrap around the notch and are not any longer hidden behind it. There is no indication of the MacBook Air anywhere on the laptop, which is odd because Apple has removed the inscription from beneath the display. However, it hasn't improved to be making much differences as of now, as people are still equally crazy as they would have been in case of its name is engraved on it. But on the other hand, everything is not as flashy as it looks, as compared to the 512GB model and even the 256GB M1 Air. The base model of the M2 MacBook Air with the 256GB SSD offers a slower, read-write performance. It has been determined that this is due to the 256GB form of the M2 Air using a single, denser NAND storage chip rather than two, which results in less bandwidth. Also, the users who are watching this video to understand if M2 MacBook Air will be the right choice when judged by the game preferences, then alas, you might not be very satisfied. For casual games like Asphalt 9, Legends, and Jetpack Joyride 2, it might run very smoothly, but it is not suited for very big games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Metro Exodus. There is not a huge difference which could be spotted between the both, but then, MacBook Air M2 is definitely more efficient, precise, and handy because of its updated features. Talking about it overall, the brand new M2 MacBook Air is superior to the previous M1 MacBook Air in almost every aspect. It has an unbeatable combination of portability, performance, display quality, and overall comfort. It costs roughly 20,000 rupees or more, which is significantly more expensive. But if you want the most recent MacBook design, a better webcam, MagSafe charging, and a faster processor, it would be worthwhile. The new Air is just as sturdy and well built as the previous model, despite its reduced weight and slimmer profile. Even though the chassis is rigid and the lid flexes almost little at all, one finger can still open it. Apple continues to lead the industry in terms of design, fit and finish, and the new Air is no exception. It has got a new look, it's up to date and quite useful. Some people might miss the wedge shape, but this new Air is a gorgeous laptop, and the design will hold up until Apple improves it again in about 5 or more years to come. If you are currently using MacBook Air M2 and have used MacBook M1 before or have some idea about it, then please let us know in the comment section below about your views and which one would you prefer. Hope you loved our review and analysis of this brand new MacBook Air M2, and will make the purchase accordingly. For more such content, like and subscribe to the video to keep yourself updated about such new technologies.